Since the launch of the International Leadership Development Program in 2009 by the Wholesale and Retail SETA, 75 alumni and 36 candidates graduated last week. The main objective of the program is to expose high-potential senior managers from across the wholesale and retail sector to co-learning opportunities in South Africa, the US, Canada, Europe, China and India. Joining us to talk more on the development program, we have the Chief Executive Officer of the Wholesale and Retail Sector, our SETA rather, that is Dikgole, and one of the graduates, Yondela and Ndema. You at home can join into our discussion. Our number is at the bottom of the screen. Call us. We'd love to hear from you. We're also on Facebook and Twitter for your comments. Good morning to you and thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Dikgole, now the program has been running for about 4 years. Tell us how it's grown since 2009.
Well, in 2009 we enrolled about 15 candidates. And over the past 3 years, we've had close to about 38 candidates. So we now have an alumni of close to 100 candidates who have now gone through the program. And as a wholesale and retail SETA, we're extremely proud of all these candidates who've gone through the program, because these are the young people in those organizations who a few years ago we were told by their management that they were not there. And we've been able, through this program, to actually find them and expose them to the global competition, the global retail environment. So we are extremely proud. We've just graduated 36 last week with our partnership with Gibbs.
Yondela, you are a graduate of the program and you have a standing career in the wholesale and retail sector, but a lot of people might see it as a very menial sector. You know, they don't believe that there's value in starting at the bottom and packing shelves and working your way up. Tell us what attracted you to the sector.
I guess given my legal background, I'm passionate about the consumer, who's one of the important stakeholders in the retail industry. So there is future in the retail industry, and I think being passionate about consumer rights is what has attracted me to the retail sector.
What value have you drawn from being part of this development program?
Quite a lot, because I mean, for me, it was a holistic learning experience, and given the partnership with Gibbs, I mean, it not only helped me to enhance my professional and career development, but helped me grow as a person as well.
All right. We do invite you at home to please join into our discussion. If you've got any questions or comments on the wholesale and retail SETA, do call us. We'd love to hear from you, and Dikgole will be able to answer some of your questions. But looking at this Gibbs partnership, tell us the value behind this particular partnership with Gibbs.
Well, firstly, Gibbs is a well-renowned business school. The executive programs they run are world-class. And we felt as an organization that it was important to talk to an organization like Gibbs and say to them, we have a program that we want to expose our retailers to. And we want the partnership with Gibbs, with their faculty, with their expertise and experience in wholesale and retail sector worldwide. But the other value that we've derived from this program is that it's now an accredited program. It's accredited just like one of Gibbs programs, their senior management development program, which is anchored at level 7. Now, a level 7 means it's almost like a mini MBA or a postgrad diploma or degree. And the idea is that those who've gone through the program and are qualified on the program can then continue either to do an MBA in retail, PhD. We need a lot of research in this sector. So it just opens all the avenues for those that want to progress. Now remember, these are senior managers. People like Yondela have been in senior management in their own organizations. And I can tell you that quite a number of the people who've gone through the program have actually been promoted in their organizations they've come back to make an impact in their own organizations. I also think as individuals, they have grown. So our partnership with Gibbs has been premised on the fact that we want them to come out of that program being different people, but also making an impact in the wholesale and retail sector. But I think the most important thing is to demonstrate to young people, those at university, those in the high schools, that wholesale and retail is a real career of choice. You can become anything in wholesale and retail. I mean, if you take Yondela with a legal background, she's sitting now on the executive committee of her organization. So you can be whatever you want to be in the wholesale and retail sector. If you love marketing, that's the place to be. If you love advertising, if you love merchandising, there's just wholesale and retail just opens quite a variety of programs.
Yondela, tell us about the skills that you require through this program and the growth that Dikgole mentions here as being a graduate of the program.
For me, I was a specialist, so when I embarked on the ILDP program, it helped me grow as an executive and helped enhance my skills as a leader, and it helped groom me as a leader and to prepare me for the challenges which I would not have been ready for if it was not for this program. And especially the partnership with Gibbs. I mean, attending a business school helped teach me about strategic leadership, about thinking, about being innovative, because I was sort of comfortable and I was in my comfort zone before the program. So after the program, I mean, the sky was the limit, and I had grown so much and had so much value to add, and that is evident in the fact that I was promoted after I graduated in the program.
How competitive is the wholesale and retail sector internationally, and how is that motivating you to really come back to South Africa and putting to good use the skills that you required to advance the development of the sector in this country?
It is very competitive. In fact, one of the highlights of the program, which I mean, I'm grateful for, is the fact that it exposed us to international best practices, because you cannot be competitive if you don't continually enhance your learning. So going to USA and to Canada and to UK helped expose us to one of the conglomerates, and the plenary sessions and the meetings with global leaders helped us as well to benchmark South Africa against the first world countries, and compared to those countries that we visited, we are competitive because South Africa is not that far behind.
All right, I do have a caller on the line from Polokwane Dintle. Good morning to you, and what is your question or your comment?
Morning. I would like to ask, how can I apply for the program if I'm for the program duration if I'm from the disadvantaged?
Okay. Thanks for that, Dintle. And Dikgole, what are the application processes for the program?
Yes, I think that's a very, very good question. In fact, we are launching the new program for 2013. The advertisements are out in the newspaper. I think yesterday there was an advertisement in Business Day. So if you can look through the newspapers, but also go on our website. You will see there is an invitation for people to apply for the program. Now, this program is actually meant for previously disadvantaged individuals. That was designed that way from 2009, that we identify talented young people in the organizations who need to rise. And so, Buntle, you qualify as you've outlined.
All right. I've got another caller on the line, Leslie from Kagiso. Good morning, Leslie. And what is your question or your comment?
Morning, how are you?
Well, thank you, and yourself.
Good. I just want to ask a very simple question. Let's say maybe like you've been working maybe for different financial companies. Maybe let's say you're a sales consultant or financial advisor. then it happens that you want to be part of this program. What are the requirements? Because let's say, like, I don't have maybe any qualifications specifically for this program, then I want to be part of it. What are the criteria that they're going to use to select me?
All right, thanks for that, Leslie. Leslie just basically saying that he's from more of a financial sector, not a lot of knowledge or qualification within the wholesale and retail sector. How would he qualify to be part of the program?
Well, this program is primarily for senior managers, those that are already working in the sector, that are employed in the sector, those who've been identified in their own organizations to be the part of the talent pool. So it's deliberate in that way, because our view as a SETA is that we are growing the talent that the wholesale and retail sector will be able to pick up on. These are young people that we believe are the future of the wholesale and retail sector. Mm-hmm. They'll become the CEOs of the organizations. Mm-hmm. Now, I think for Leslie, if he's involved in the financial services sector, well, in wholesale and retail, we do have a financial services sector. I mean, it's part of the wholesale and retail sector. So he needs to be currently working in the sector. But we also have another organizations called the W&RSETA, which focuses on financial services. They also run this type of program, but obviously I presume that they also require people who are already working in the sector.
Yondela, for you as part of the graduate of the program, not everything goes very smoothly. It's not always a bed of roses. Tell us a bit about your challenges and how those challenges have actually strengthened you.
In the program?
In the program, yes.
I think team dynamics, because one of the highlights of the program is the action learning program. So the challenge was dealing with different personalities, but which is a prerequisite if you are going to be groomed as a leader, because in the workplace you deal with different cultures and you must be able to embrace diversity. So that was one of the biggest challenges for me.
Okay. Cindy has our Facebook comments from our viewers. It's over to you, Cindy.
All right, thanks so much. Ayanda, and you at home are most welcome to contribute to this discussion. It's facebook.com/ETV Sunrise. We wanted to know from you, what do you think of this initiative of creating learning opportunities for senior managers, especially internationally as well? And this is part of the Wholesale and Retail Sector Education Training Authority. Unati Gwazayam says only 75 benefited in 4 years. That's tongue-in-cheek with a big question mark. And Zipiwa Dube says, hats off for the initiative. That's so inspiring. They must keep it up. Kolofelo says, I think our government is trying by all means to help young people. And Raserati says, only 75 is way too little for a multi-million rand project. I wonder in that, how do you say you're embarking on a course to alleviate unemployment, and especially with the 500,000 rand, or no, rather 500,000 youth out of work. Only 75 in 4 years, that's not good enough. And Joshua says they must pour from what they achieve to higher levels. Foreign knowledge is good and is an eye-opener. And lastly, from Nolo Mofokeng says, I think government is trying to help young people. So mixed views there regarding this particular initiative, but generally saying that we can do more than just the alumni, the 75 beneficiaries so far. Back to you in studio.
Thanks for that, Cindy. Aubrey from Mamelodi is on the line. Good morning to you, Aubrey, and what is your question or your comment?
Hello, Mama. Yeah, look, the which some wholesale and retail sector really got to September. The 1st of September, and then 2011 September.
Okay. Okay. All right. Thanks for that, Aubrey. I think we should not confuse the learnership development program with the learnerships that are offered by the SETA. So with Aubrey here, who's been part of a learnership but has not received his qualifications or his certificates, how should he go about doing so?
Well, he must just call our office. He can call me directly on my cell phone, and I'll be able to establish what has happened. But our turnaround on certification is very good. I'm not sure what program he's also done. Often we use other SETAs, for instance, some programs we run through the Food Bev SETA. So at times there is a bit of a delay because they have to quality assure their own qualifications. But I'll be very happy to help Aubrey.
Looking at the fact that this program, Yondela, runs within different countries, international countries at that, what have you drawn as value from that instead of just keeping it in-house and in South Africa and spending so much money to go overseas? What value have you drawn from these programs connecting to markets internationally?
It helped me to be a well-rounded executive, to be open-minded and to learn from the best retailers in the world, and then come back and be able to impart that knowledge not just to my employer but to the retail industry as a whole. And yes.
But Dikgole, looking at some of our Facebook comments coming from our viewers, we see that only 75 of the alumni graduated, 39 candidates also graduated, and a lot of viewers saying that's a very small number for a SETA that's got good financial backing. How can we justify that?
Well, I think that's a very good question, and given our situation in our country of young people who are unemployed, who are looking for opportunities. My answer is that we run a number of programs in the SETA. In fact, this year we've enrolled close to 6,000 young people on a learnership. The majority of them are unemployed. Some are already working in the sector. So there are a number of programs that we've invested money on. It's not just the International Leadership Development Program. Remember this program is for senior managers. And the idea is that in the next few years, we must have our own people running the wholesale and retail sector. I think our dream as an organization is that these 100 who have now graduated will create employment for many more young people. They'll set up their own organizations, or they will run the current organizations. I'm sure one day when we have a black CEO at Edcon or Woolworths, we will look back and say, as an organization, we think we have made a good investment. But let's also remember that the wholesale and retail sector comprises 99% SMMEs, your small, medium retailers. We would like to see many of those also benefit from the program. Okay. Currently, it's your large organizations that are taking advantage of this program, which runs for a period of 5 months. Of course, it's not full-time. They have to go back to work.
All right, I do have a call on the line. Dumi from Four Ways, good morning to you, and what is your question or your comment?
Hi, how are you guys?
Well, thank you, and yourself.
I'm good. My name is Dumi. I work for JD Financial Services. I work, not closely, but I work with Yondela from the legal department.
All right.
I just feel it's so motivating to see a familiar face and a woman actually doing this. And I know personally she's very, very motivated. And actually this gives me more light to try and apply and find out if I do qualify. Yondela, go get them. I'm so proud of you.
All right. Thanks for that. We really do appreciate that heartwarming comment. But Yondela, as Dumi mentioned, we do not find a lot of women that are in this sector, very male-dominated. How can we change the mindsets of women? How can we motivate women to take part of this? What is the values that come with having women in this sector?
There's a lot of value. Like, for instance, one of the benefits of the program, I mentor quite a number of students. I think we must just remove those gender boundaries and barriers in terms of thinking just because you're a woman, you can't do it, and it's a man's world. Because if you believe you can, you can. Because I believe the world moves aside for a woman who knows where she is going.
Okay, and what are your hopes for the future?
My hopes is to be a change agent and to continue being a change agent, add value and make my own mark, not just in my organization, but in the retail sector at large.
All right, thank you so very much for your time. We do appreciate it. We've been speaking to the CEO of the Wholesale and Retail SETA, Dikgole, as well as a graduate of the Leadership Development Program, Yondela Ndema. And thank you at home for taking part of our discussion, for posting your comments on our Facebook page, and for also calling in.